So I just got done unpacking this closet slash pantry that we're going to put in our kitchen. And that's some of the parts of it right there. But the problem is it's too wide. Let me show you. So here I have one side of the panel leaned up right here. And it's just too wide. It's gonna take in a lot of space because it's 16 inches wide, which comes out to about here. And from here to the corner right there, to this corner, it's gonna be about 24 inches, too narrow. So the idea is to modify this cabinet, making it shorter. So let's take it outside and get this cut. So here we are with one panel of the cabinet. Now this side has a groove in it, a channel, and this will assemble the back part of the cabinet. So I'm not gonna touch this side. I'm gonna cut it on this side. Now notice these are just holes for shelving, which we rarely gonna use. Maybe none of these, maybe one or two shelving, because we need it more as a closet for broom and vacuum and stuff like that. So this is 24 inches wide. We're gonna take it down to 14 inches wide. So that's how the inside of it looks. So we're gonna keep this groove for the back panel for assembly. We're gonna take it off from this side and cut this side down 14 inches from here straight across. And back here is the toe kick, so I'll definitely have to cut the toe kick back in. I'll have to put these two small holes here, pre-drill holes for assembling hinges and whatever else. Here's another two small holes, and I think there's another one. These are for the doors. So let me flip this over where I already have it taped and marked, and get it ready for cutting. So let's take a measurement to see where I'm at, and I'm right there on the line at 14 inches. So we're keeping this side, we're getting rid of the side with the toe kick. So now I'm gonna adjust my skill saw the depth of the blade because I don't want to cut through here. So I'm gonna adjust the depth of the blade for right here, so I won't cut through here. And once I do that, then I'll start cutting. What I'll do, I'll line up the cutout for the toe kick right here. I'll line it up right here, mark it out, get everything lined up straight, and I'll mark it out, and then I'll be able to cut the toe kick out. But let's take a look. Look at that. Nice clean line. No chips. No chipping. It's not like 100% like factory, but the edges, this is the part that will be showing anyway. So it's nice clean edge. So now I'll line this part up and mark it out. So notice it's a little bit oval right here. It's not fully 90, like a tight corner. It's a little bit oval right here. So what I'll do, I'll drill right here, and then after I drill right here, and I'll cut it. I'm trying to go slow so I don't burst the bottom out. And also, I'm feeling for as soon as it pokes through, then I'll drill it from the bottom up. Alright, so the point just came through. Alright, so that way I prevented knocking the bottom out. So that's good enough. Now I gotta get the saw and cut here, cut there. Alright, so that's it for the toe kick. Just gotta get a, see, so when there's no tape, you can see the difference. It's all chipped up, but I'm not concerned about this because it's gonna be underneath, so it shouldn't be that visible, hopefully. Otherwise they have the filling pen that can fill this out and it would look like nothing. Just got a file, see a little rough edge right there. Just gotta file this down, smooth that out with a file, And that's one piece down. Well, actually the second piece down. But I do have 3 parts to cut: the bottom piece, the top piece, and there's a stationary shelf that slides into here in the middle for added support. So I do have to cut those other 3 pieces, and they should be much easier because I'm gonna cut them on the table saw. So let me get this off. Of course, I also have let's see, so I do have these pre-made holes to put back here and here. So part of the assembly, screws will go in here to assemble something. I'll know when I get to that bridge. Also here, so I have to put these pre-drill holes back, and here's another one at the top, so I gotta put those back. Not sure yet if I'm gonna pre-drill them or if I'll just wait till I get there and I need it. I do it at that time. But let's get this in and line it up. This, we won't need this piece, that's garbage. All right, so there we have it. 3 more pieces to go. So here I have a dry setup of the cabinet. So we have both sides that were cut, modified, and now this is where I'm at. So we have this metal support, permanent shelf, and then we're gonna have the top to cut along with this, along with the bottom where the toe kick is at. So what I need to do is get the exact length right here where I need to cut this, all 3 of them. So I'm just gonna mark this right here. That's where I need to cut it. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna set up the measurement in the table saw. So once I set up the measurement in the table saw, it will be a breeze cutting all 3 of them. So I got this mark. Let's take this out and head over to the table saw. Okay, so here I have the table saw all set up. I have my first shelving with that mark right there, and I have it up against the rail, and that's where I'm cutting it, right on the outside, because I want it to be nice and flush. So I'm gonna get it right on the outside of that teeth. All right, so let me put on my PPE, my safety gears, and get a cutting. Alrighty, so it seemed to cut pretty well, right on line. Well, just a little bit of the line is right here. I don't know if we'll be able to see that, but I'm going to do a dry fit and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's a dry fit. It's a dry fit right here, and it is nice and level. So I just have to do the top and then I do the bottom. So the way I have it, the measurement set up on the table saw is perfect. So it's nice and flush right here. Once it's assembled and all that fall into place right there, it will be level. So it's pretty much flush already right here. So that's good. All right, so now I'll cut 2 more. Here we have it. 3 shelves, just in case. And then we have the top and the bottom. So I think we're ready for assembling. Well, not quite. Still have some holes to pre-drill. Yeah. So I guess I gotta measure up those holes, pre-drill them, some for the shelves and some for attaching the hinges and maybe the assembly support. Well, come with me, you'll see what I'm talking about. So here's a dry fit of the modification that I did with the cabinet. So this is a dry fit. So actually the width has remained the same from there left to right. It has remained the same. That wasn't touched. What was modified was the depth. And I'll show you the comparison with a shelf. So this is a shelf, right? This is a shelf, and that's how much I've modified the depth of the shelf, or the depth of the closet or pantry. So that's it. Took it down from 24 inches in depth down to 14 inches. So right now I have the top, the middle support, or the stationary shelf, and the bottom, along with the cutouts for the toe kick. However, I still have some pre-drill holes that I need to make here, up there, and up there on both sides to hang the doors. And think so there won't be any shelves in this part. This part will be for like the broom, the stick vacuum cleaner, stuff like that. But here, this top section, we'll probably put 2 shelves, maybe 2 or 3 shelves. So I've cut those shelves already. That's them right here. That's these shelves. So they've cut already, and they'll go in here just like that. And they should be a little bit below. That's fine. I don't mind that being just a little bit below, like a 1/2 inch, and that's okay. So I also modified 3 shelves. So these 3 shelves will put in the top there. Here, no shelves, because this is closet for broom, stick vacuum, mops, stuff like that. And all that will go right here, right along here. So the garbage can will get shifted over that side and it will be placed right here. So now I'm gonna have to get to drilling the pre-drill holes for the doors, and I think also for some kind of assembling of it. So I imagine the best way to get the markup of these holes, these pre-drill holes, is this is the wasted piece that I don't need, that I've cut off. Is to just pretty much line it up and drill right through it. Drill right through them. We will just touch here. So I have this drill bit, so I'll use that to go through it, and right there, about right there. Not even that much, it's just to break this top laminated material. So once I break that, it's good because it stops right there. So I'm just gonna line these up and just line this up as close as possible as I can get it, and just simply drill through them to get them all. So the dust is all vacuumed. Let's get the reveal and see how it looks. Well, what do you know? Look at that. Look at that. Look pretty much correct, right? This is a little bit. Okay, that's good. Yeah, look like they fall pretty much in the same spot. Not too far off at all. Okay, so finally it's assembling time. So it's just a matter of following the instructions. I bought this from Home Depot. Well, it was a special order from Home Depot because they didn't carry it in stock. So now it's just a matter of, these are the included parts list. So this is the first step of the instruction. So apparently these little brackets would get screwed to these holes, and they would actually, so we screw it there, and then when the other front piece come here, it gets screwed that way. And for these partition piece, well, this will be the bottom, this would be for the toe kick, so this would also go that way and get screwed down. So when the toe kick comes in here, when it comes in here, it has something to screw to, as well as for the bottom. This one right here will get screwed into here, and then once I slide the bottom piece into here, it will get screwed through here. But because I want this cabinet to last, many might not agree with me, but this is how I do what I do. I'm gonna put this in all of these grooves, so when I slide the bottom in, or I slide the pieces in, they'll get glued. Yep, I'm gluing all of this bad boy up. So this is the back side. This is one of the side panel. This is the back side panel, and it sits in a groove. I'm gonna fill all of that with some nail, some liquid nails, and let this thing last a lifetime. Assembly time. Let me get to it. So even when I buy IKEA furniture, and if any of my friends or my family ask me to assemble it for them, I use glue. And those furniture last them a generation, not IKEA's time, which is a couple years, but it lasts them a lifetime. And usually they're not going anywhere where they need to disassemble them and move them around. No. So they're usually there permanently until they decide to change them, get rid of it. Then they would have to smash them apart so they could be recycled. Okay. Now, so these. So let's see what mine says next. So we've done that. We've done that. They want us to mount. Let's see. Okay, we've done that. So now here, in the back. That's what we're gonna do. Put those 4 screws in here. And those are 1-inch flathead screws. So let's get the box here. So we have these sets of screws. We have this side and we have this side. 1 inch. So these are going to the side. Okay. So all the screws went in fine. Nothing popped out. They all went in fine. Over here, that's fine. They're both there in the back. That's fine. That's fine. That's good. That's good. Nothing there. That's good. So now Gotta screw these in here using the shorter screws. I'll do that one right there too, and do that one. So let me take care of those now. That's the next step. In with the left hand. Left hand. There you have it. So that's one half done, along with the back. So now I'm gonna have to prep the other half side, the other side too. But I'm gonna add the liquid nail all along here. And then I prep the other side with the brackets, and then I'll flip this over, put it on, and do it all over again. So finally, a completed box. All done, all screwed up. Everything is screwed in. So now it's just the face to be installed. I gotta put the face on. Gotta put the toe kick on right there. So now it has been decreased from 24 inches deep to 14 inches deep, and that's enough to do all that we needed to do for everything to get fit in here. Brooms, stick vacuum, cleaning supplies can be on the shelves up in this section. Yep. So this is it unpacked. Not looking bad. No scratches, looking good. So to make this easy, I'm gonna have to take the doors off. So I gotta see how these hinges, if they gotta be screwed off or if they can be snapped on or off. So let's get this down this way. Open it up this way. Okay. So we have a screw right there to remove the door. So let me remove all the doors, and then the frame right there, we'll dry fit that and see how it looks. So I had to flip it over, and to remove the hinges, you just remove that one screw from there. So there's that one screw right here in the middle. Just remove that. That's it. And the hinge is detached. So I'm gonna take care of 1, 2, 3, 4. Remove the rest. So here's the dry fit of the front, and it fits the dimension very good. However, there's one issue, and maybe many of you viewers would probably have noticed it if you're a carpenter, but there's a gap where it's not sitting flush into the box, and that's because of this right here. These are cut too high, and I suppose when I was doing the dry test it wasn't leveled, and so I'm off by maybe half an inch right there, 5/8. So now because of that, this won't sit flush in all the way. So I got a problem that I need to solve. Of course, it involves cutting. Who would have known? Why it had to involve cutting. So somehow I'm gonna have to cut all of these, cut that 1/2 inch off right there, level. If I was a pro, I would have known that from earlier, but I thought because it had these grooves in there, these grooves were deep enough to capture that. I guess not. So it's there at the top also. There it is. Too high. All right. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna cut it because now I can't pull it apart. So that's another challenge. So here's a prime example of how one simple, well, what would seem to be a simple mistake could lead to you redoing the job all over again. So I had to take it apart. Fortunately for me, the glue, it wasn't completely set, and because I didn't use a whole lot, I was able to remove it. So I kind of just have to, the bottom stick more than anywhere else, and I have to kind of just, yeah. But anyway, I'm gonna head out to the table saw. I'm just gonna cut that 1/2 inch off of here. I have it marked. I have it marked here, right there. So that's it marked right there. So I'm just gonna line up the table saw just to take this much off, and once I adjust it to taking this off, I'll just run the rest through it and we'll be good. And then I could get back to doing what I need to do, put this back together and try and catch up. Let's cut these. So the adjustment is completed. See, now it's level, all three of them. So now I can pick up back where we were, and that is another dry fit of this right here. more space. All right, that fits good. So now it's just a matter of attaching it right there. One there, two there, and there's several more. There's several more going down. There is there. So just have to go through, attach them, and then put the doors on. And after that, is to mount it against the wall. Otherwise, looking good. Took me a little bit of time, but we're getting there. So pretty much all is assembled. The front is on, and now I'm just doing a size up along the wall where it will be installed. So here's the reason why I had to cut it down somewhat. Let me get this board out of here, because had it remained at 24 inches, it would have come out here and you would see the space to walk through would be pretty small, very narrow. So by cutting it back down to a depth of 14 inches, we still have enough room here to walk through with no problem. But now to get this installed onto the wall, a little bit more cutting have to be done. Well, first thing, the floor is not leveled, because when you see the top is way off from the wall, I gotta push it back against the wall that much, and you can see it's gonna come up. So I'm gonna have to shim. I'm gonna have to shim down right there. So that's when it's back on the wall. Plus, I'm gonna have to mark a line here and Dremel this piece of baseboard and remove the baseboard that's behind there. So I'm gonna get my pencil. Oh, where did I put the pencil? And I'm gonna mark a line right here, and I'm gonna dribble. Use the multi-oscillating tool, cut that and remove the rest of baseboard that's behind there. But that's pretty much where it's gonna be at. It's gonna come right up against this counter right here, and then once remove the baseboard, it will get more flush. It will go to the back here and flush up against here. The final thing would be to put spacer between here. It's good that there's the room, there's some room right there, that's good, so this door can open easily. So I have spacers. I just gotta measure and cut and put spacers, put a spacer in between here, so this will look sealed. But I'm loving it. The color is different. This is more gray, this is more white. So I do have the spray paint for this color, but I'm pressed for time. Another day. This is easy to remove. Or even if I don't remove it, but if I spray the doors, that will suffice, even if I just spray the doors. All right, so let me get to cutting that, remove the baseboard. So it's possible that I could have gone a little bit too deep in the sheetrock, but it's okay because the cabinet is going to cover all of that. Then later on I can just touch this up with some paint. Now I gotta score this and take that off. Let me get my scoring knife. Okay, it's not too bad. Didn't get down. I didn't cut too deep in there. It's pretty good. A little bit of nick right there, but that's good. So, all right, now I just gotta get these out, which can always be a pain, especially if it's in a stud. Probably just have to break it off. But I'll get those out, vacuum here, and do another test. Nope, then I'll just break it off. Yeah, that's in a stud, alright. That's not coming out. Just put a band on it, call it a day. Alright. Let's get the cabinet back in here. Let's see how it lines up. That's all, folks. So now it's lined up. That's good. However, huge gap at the top. Huge gap. So I gotta push it back like that. And the bottom, I'd have to shim the bottom. Let's see the amount of play. So I'm going to shim the bottom because the floor is not level. But having it up against the wall like that, and then that's how much gap I'll need to fill underneath here. It's good. Looking good. Okay. I'll just have to fill that much gap. All right. That's where we're at. So what we'll do next here, I'll get this lined up straight. There should be a stud behind there. I'm gonna get it into the stud, screw it into the stud, and put some shim on the bottom there, and then put the doors on, and that's a wrap. Filling in here is history. I have a piece of trim with this color. that I'll just cut it down to size, put it in there, and get this all wrapped up. All right, thank you so much for watching. If I haven't said it before, please like this video if you find it entertaining. So let's get to screwing this up, putting the doors on, and you'll see the finished product. So let me show you how I like finding stud. I have this neodymium magnet. They sell some nicer, fancier ones, but this is pretty strong. And what I do is I kind of do a knock. You can hear the difference right here. So this is more solid. This is solid, more solid right here. So I should be able to pick up a, there you go. And I have a little mark on it because I found that one. There's another screw head right there. And I could just keep going down. There we go. Another one right there is found. And then what I'll do, I'll just take my pencil and I just mark center top and center bottom. And that's where my stud is at. And can continue coming down. There we go. Found another one right there. So center top, center bottom. And you could hear the difference. Right there. Right there's a stud. More hollow. Less hollow. More hollow. Hear how hollow that is? You hear the difference. That's how I find my studs in the wall so that I can now screw to it. So here's what I did thus far. So I found the stud in the wall here. What I did, I marked it. I moved the cabinet back into its position. And then on the edge I marked a line, and then I measure the two distance, and that's where my stud would be. Got 6.5 inches. So on the back of the cabinet I measured 6.5 inches, like that. 6.5 inches right there, and I pre-drilled a hole, just two, one here and one at the top right there. Yeah, that one. And that's more than enough because most of the weight in that cabinet is down, not pulling off the wall. So that is just to hold it there. Plus it's sitting flush on the ground with a little bit of maybe shim. I'll have to put a little bit of shim underneath there. So let me do that. I'm gonna bring it back up in position and put those two screws in and get ready for and shim it and then get ready for the door. So here's a sneak peek of the finished product. Well, semi-finish. I still have the door handles to install, like those, one there, and I also have the top to finish trim the top, both for those cabinets, that one, the way it's done over there, So I still have to trim that those cabinet, these wall cabinets, and I have to put the spacer in between here. And the toe kick, I've shimmed it so it's nice and solid on the ground, and there's a cover that I have to put there, something that looks similar to this cover to make it look finished and seal to the floor. Right now there's a gap, so I have that cover to put. Otherwise, it's pretty much looking good. And once my wife can decide what height she need those shelves, I'll have to put a hole here on this end. We have it here, so it's a matter of just lining it up, popping a hole there on both sides. So we're gonna put 3 shelves in here, so I just need to put 3 holes on this side, 3 holes on that side, and that's a wrap. Nice soft closed door. These doors are nicely, there we go. Just have a little rubber, those little rubber cushion to put right here to dampen the noise a bit, so we don't hear that tuk-tuk. All right, please, if you enjoyed this video, you found it entertaining, don't forget, just give me a thumbs up that you liked it. See you in the next video.